I was in love truly, and deeply in love with Amanda. For 3 years, we built a beautiful life together, planning our wedding and dreaming about our future. Her family, especially her dad Howard and brothers Lucas and Justin, eventually became like my own family too. Then one day out of nowhere I was accused of something I never did. The accusations turned physical, and I was left broken and alone. But the truth always finds its way out in the end. If you've ever been wrongfully accused, you know the gut-wrenching feeling. Let me know where you're watching from, and hit that like button if you've ever had to fight to clear your name. Trust me, you'll want to hear how this ends. I am a 32-year-old software engineer living in Seattle. My life was pretty standard, until I met Amanda at my friend Tyler's barbecue 3 years ago. She was standing by the cooler laughing at something someone said, and I remember thinking she had the most beautiful smile I had ever seen. Her blonde hair caught the sunlight just right, and her blue eyes sparkled with life. It took me 20 minutes to work up the courage to talk to her, and when I finally did, we clicked instantly. She was 28, worked as a graphic designer, and had a passion for landscape photography. We exchanged numbers, and I called her the very next day to ask her out for coffee. Our first date was at a small cafe downtown. We talked for hours about everything from our childhoods to our career aspirations. I told her about my love for coding and building things, and she shared her artistic vision and creative projects. Where I was analytical and methodical, she was spontaneous and creative. We complemented each other perfectly. After dating for a year, we decided to move in together. Our daily routine became my favorite part of life. Waking up next to her, making breakfast together before work, sending each other silly texts throughout the day, and coming home to share stories of our day. We dreamed of buying a house in the suburbs someday, having 2 kids and getting a golden retriever. Amanda came from a tight-knit family. Her father Howard was a retired construction foreman who had built their family home with his own hands. He was fiercely protective of his only daughter. Her older brother Lucas worked in finance and had been a college football player. The younger brother Justin was a personal trainer who competed in CrossFit competitions. All 3 men in her family were physically imposing and extremely protective of Amanda. When I first met them at a family dinner, Howard grilled me about my intentions, career prospects, and 5-year plan. His skepticism was obvious, and it made for an uncomfortable evening. Lucas and Justin were slightly more welcoming but still reserved. It was clear I needed to earn their trust. Over the next few months, I made a genuine effort to connect with them. I helped Howard repair his deck, watched football games with Lucas, and even endured brutal workout sessions with Justin. Slowly but surely they began to accept me. The turning point came when Howard clapped me on the shoulder one Christmas and said, "You are good for my daughter, Carlton. I was wrong about you." Last year, on a clear day in September, I took Amanda up to Mount Rainier for a hike. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples, I got down on one knee and asked her to marry me. The look of pure joy on her face as she said yes is something I will never forget. We set the date for October this year. We booked a charming venue by the lake, hired a photographer Amanda had worked with before, and began the exciting process of planning our perfect day. Howard even offered to contribute a significant amount to give his daughter the wedding she deserved. Everything was perfect until 3 months ago. Amanda began acting differently. She would check my phone when she thought I was not looking. She became quieter, more withdrawn. When I asked if everything was okay, she would force a smile and say she was just stressed about wedding planning. I believed her because I had no reason not to. I had no idea that our world was about to shatter. It was a Tuesday evening when everything fell apart. I came home from work to find Amanda sitting on our couch, my phone in her hand, her eyes red from crying. "Who is Sophia?" she demanded, her voice trembling with anger and hurt. I was completely confused. "Sophia? I do not know anyone named Sophia." "Do not lie to me, Carlton." She turned my phone screen toward me, showing me text messages between me and someone named Sophia. The messages were flirtatious, even explicit in some places. There were mentions of meeting up, of keeping things secret from Amanda. "These are not from me," I said, feeling a cold dread spreading through my chest. "I have never sent these messages. I have never even met anyone named Sophia. They are from your phone, Carlton." "How stupid do you think I am?" She scrolled through more messages, each one worse than the last. There were even some photos exchanged, though. Thankfully, nothing explicit. "Amanda, someone must have hacked my phone or something. I swear to you, I have not sent these." You have been distant for weeks, she said, tears streaming down her face. Always working late, always on your phone. I thought you were just stressed about work. But you were texting her the whole time. We're not you. No, I have been working on a major project, you know that. I tried to reach for her but she backed away. Do not touch me. I cannot believe I was so blind. The wedding is off. She grabbed her purse and keys. Amanda, please. Let us talk about this. There has to be some explanation. I have all the explanation I need right here, she said, holding up screenshots she had taken of the messages. She stormed out of our apartment, and I heard her car speed away. I tried calling her immediately, but she did not pick up. I sent text after text trying to explain that I had been hacked, that the messages were not from me, that I would never cheat on her, but she did not respond. After an hour of desperate calls and messages, I decided to drive to her parents' house. I knew she would go there. I had to make her understand. The 30-minute drive felt like an eternity. My mind raced, trying to understand what had happened. Who was Sophia? How did those messages get on my phone? Was someone trying to sabotage our relationship? When I pulled into the driveway of her parents' suburban home, I saw all the lights were on. I took a deep breath and walked to the door, rehearsing what I would say. Howard answered, his face like stone. His normally friendly eyes were cold with hatred. Mr. Turner, I need to talk to Amanda. There has been a huge misunderstanding. She does not want to talk to you, he said flatly. And neither do I. You have got a lot of nerve showing up here after what you did. Sir, I did not do anything. Those messages were not from me. Someone must have hacked my phone. Or, save your excuses, he interrupted. No one wants to hear them. I tried to look past him into the house. Please, just let me talk to her for 5 minutes. She is upstairs crying her eyes out because of you. She does not want to see you. Ever again. As I was about to plead my case further, Lucas and Justin appeared behind their father. Both looked as if they were barely containing their anger. You need to leave, Lucas said, stepping forward. Not until I talk to Amanda. I insisted, my desperation growing. This is all a misunderstanding. I love her. I would never cheat on her. We saw the messages, Justin said, his fists clenched at his sides. You are a lying cheat. Now get off our property before we make you leave. Please, I begged. Just 5 minutes with Amanda. That is all I am asking. Lucas suddenly shoved me hard, causing me to stumble backward. He said, leave. Are you deaf? I regained my balance and stood my ground. I am not leaving until I talk to her. That was when Justin's fist connected with my face. Pain exploded across my cheek and eye. Before I could react, Lucas grabbed me by the shirt and punched me in the stomach, knocking the wind out of me. I doubled over, gasping for breath, and felt another blow to my ribs. Through watering eyes, I saw Howard standing there, watching, making no move to stop his sons. In fact, he stepped forward and grabbed me by the collar. You broke my daughter's heart, he growled, and then he slapped me hard across the face. You are not welcome here anymore. Stay away from her. The commotion had drawn the attention of neighbors. An elderly couple across the street was watching from their porch, and a woman walking her dog had stopped to stare. Someone must have called the police because as Lucas was preparing to hit me again, sirens wailed in the distance. Get out of here, Howard hissed, releasing me. And do not come back. I stumbled to my car, blood dripping from my nose, my right eye already swelling shut, my ribs screaming in pain. As I pulled away, I caught a glimpse of Amanda in an upstairs window watching. I raised my hand in a futile gesture, but she turned away. The police arrived as I was leaving. An officer pulled me over a block away, concerned about my condition and my ability to drive. When he saw my injuries, he called for an ambulance. Do you want to press charges? The officer asked after taking my statement. Despite everything, I said no. They were Amanda's family. I still hoped this nightmare would end, that the truth would come out, that we could fix things. The paramedics cleaned me up and advised me to go to the hospital for my ribs, which they suspected might be cracked. Instead, I drove home alone to our empty apartment, feeling like my life had been destroyed in the span of a few hours. The next day, my face was a mess of purple bruises. My right eye was swollen shut and breathing hurt because of my bruised ribs. I called in sick to work, unable to face my colleagues in this condition. Then I called my friend Damon, who worked in cybersecurity. Someone might have remotely accessed your phone, Damon said after examining it. There is definitely malware installed that could allow someone to send messages from your number without you knowing. It is sophisticated stuff. Can you prove it? I asked desperately. I can prove the malware exists, but tracking down who installed it is trickier. Let me see what I can do. Armed with this information, I tried calling Amanda again. My call went straight to voicemail. I discovered she had blocked me on all social media platforms as well. I sent an email explaining what Damon had found, but received no response. I drove by her office hoping to catch her during her lunch break, but her coworker said she had taken time off. I even tried sending a letter pouring my heart out explaining about the malware, begging her to talk to me. It came back unopened, marked "Return to Sender." As days passed, I learned that Amanda had been telling everyone about my cheating. Friends started taking sides. Most believed her version of events. Why would she lie about something like that? Besides, she had screenshots as evidence. My phone became a source of anxiety as mutual friends sent accusatory messages or simply stopped responding altogether. People I had known for years suddenly viewed me as a cheater and a liar. Only my best friend Tyler and my sister Jasmine stood by me without question. "I have known you my entire life," Jasmine said fiercely when she came over to check on me. "You are many things, Carlton, but a cheater is not one of them." Tyler helped spread the word about the malware to those who would listen, but few seemed convinced. It sounded like a convenient excuse. A week after the incident, I received a certified package. Inside was Amanda's engagement ring with no note. That same day, I got cancellation notices from our wedding venue and photographer. Amanda had called everything off. The financial loss was substantial with non-refundable deposits gone, but the emotional devastation was far worse. I had lost not only the woman I loved, but also her family, who I had grown close to, and many friends who now viewed me with contempt. I tried to return to work after a week, but the questions about my injuries and my obvious emotional distress made it impossible to focus. My manager, understanding but concerned, suggested I take medical leave. I reluctantly agreed. Alone in our apartment, surrounded by reminders of Amanda, I fell into depression. I barely ate, hardly slept. When I did sleep, I had nightmares about the assault and about losing Amanda. I started seeing a therapist who diagnosed me with anxiety and post-traumatic stress. Through it all, a question nagged at me: who would do this to us? Who had the technical knowledge, the motive, and the opportunity to plant malware on my phone and create fake messages? It hit me during a conversation with Tyler. What about Patrick, Amanda's ex? Patrick had dated Amanda for 2 years before we met. Their breakup had been messy, with him refusing to accept it was over. He worked in IT and had the technical skills to pull something like this off. Moreover, he had always seemed jealous whenever he saw us together at social events. "That actually makes sense," Tyler said. "He always gave me creepy vibes, and he definitely never got over Amanda." I started investigating Patrick on social media. His profiles were mostly private, but I noticed something disturbing in his public photos. There were several taken at places Amanda and I had visited, all posted shortly after we had been there. Had he been following us, I hired a private investigator, draining my savings in the process. "Find any connection between Patrick and someone named Sophia," I told him, "and find any evidence that he hacked my phone." While waiting for results, I received increasingly hostile messages from Amanda's family. Howard texted that I should move out of Seattle, that I was not welcome in their city anymore. Lucas threatened more violence if I tried to contact Amanda again. The bruises on my face faded, but the ones on my heart remained. I began to wonder if I would ever recover from this betrayal, if Amanda would ever learn the truth, if my name would ever be cleared. 3 weeks after hiring him, the private investigator called with news. "I have found a connection," he said. "Sophia Williams is Patrick's cousin, and I have evidence they have been working together." He sent me screenshots from Sophia's private Instagram account showing messages between her and Patrick discussing their plan to break up Amanda and me. There were also emails where they coordinated the timing of the fake messages to coincide with periods when I was working late. "She has never even met you," the investigator explained. Patrick created the entire text conversation and used his cousin's name and photos. He planted the malware when you left your phone unattended at the gym, where he deliberately arranged to be at the same time as you several times. With this evidence in hand, I went to the police and filed a report. Detective Thompson took the case seriously, especially given the assault I had suffered as a result of the false accusations. "This is a clear case of criminal harassment and defamation," he said. And the assault charges against Miss Turner's family members can be revisited if you change your mind about pressing charges. The police obtained a search warrant for Patrick's devices. They found all the fabricated messages, the malware program he had used, and detailed plans to break up our engagement. His digital trail was comprehensive and damning. When confronted with the evidence, Patrick confessed. He admitted to stalking us for months looking for an opportunity to plant the malware. He confessed to creating the fake conversations with his cousin's knowledge and help. He had been obsessed with getting Amanda back, and had convinced himself that she still loved him, and would return to him once I was out of the picture. Detective Thompson personally called Amanda to inform her of the findings. I was not present for that call, but I imagine her shock and disbelief. Everything she thought she knew had been turned upside down. Later that evening, my phone rang. It was Amanda. For a moment, I considered not answering, but I had fought too hard for the truth to ignore her now. "Carlton," she said, her voice breaking. "I am so sorry. I just found out what really happened. Can we talk? Please." I agreed to meet her the next day at a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown. When I arrived, she was already there, her eyes red and puffy from crying. She looked up when I approached, and fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "I do not even know what to say." She began, her voice barely above a whisper. "I am so sorry. I should have trusted you. I should have listened." "You had what looked like solid evidence," I said, my voice more steady than I felt. "I understand why you believed what you saw. But I know you," she insisted. "I know your character. I should have known you would never do that to me. And my family." She trailed off, clearly ashamed of their actions. "They were protecting you," I said, though the words tasted bitter. "They thought I had hurt you. They assaulted you, Carlton. There is no excuse for that. They should have called the police if they really thought you were dangerous, not taken matters into their own hands." We talked for over 2 hours. She explained how devastated she had been when she found the messages, how she had immediately gone to her family for support, showing them the evidence. They had all agreed I was guilty, and their collective certainty had reinforced her belief. "I need you to know that Patrick has been arrested," she said. "He is facing serious charges, and I have completely cut him out of my life. I had no idea he was still so obsessed with me." As our conversation wound down, she asked the question I had been dreading. "Is there any chance for us? Can you ever forgive me?" I did not have an answer for her yet. Too much had happened, too much trust had been broken. "I need time," I told her. "This has all been traumatic, and I am still processing everything." She nodded, understanding, but clearly heartbroken. "What about my family? They want to apologize to you in person." The thought of facing Howard, Lucas, and Justin again made my stomach clench, but I knew this confrontation needed to happen for me to move forward. "Set it up," I said. "But I want you there too." 2 days later, I found myself walking up the same driveway where I had been assaulted a month earlier. My heart hammered in my chest, and I nearly turned around twice. But I needed closure, needed to face them. Amanda opened the door before I could knock and gave me a tentative smile. "Thank you for coming," she said softly, leading me inside. Howard, Lucas, and Justin were waiting in the living room. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Howard stood as I entered, looking older and more subdued than I had ever seen him. "Carlton," he began, clearing his throat. "I want to apologize for what happened. My behavior was inexcusable. I jumped to conclusions and reacted violently instead of rationally." It clearly pained him to admit his mistake. Howard was a proud man who rarely apologized for anything. But his apology, while appreciated, did not erase what had happened. "You all could have killed me," I said bluntly, "or caused permanent damage. You never even gave me a chance to explain." Lucas stepped forward, shame evident on his face. "What we did was wrong. Full stop. We thought we were protecting Amanda, but that is no excuse for assaulting you." Justin nodded, unable to meet my eyes. I have never felt worse about anything in my life. I replayed that night in my head 1,000 times, wishing I could take it back. "Violence should never have been the answer," I said firmly. "Even if I had cheated, which I would never do, physical assault is not justified." "You are right," Howard admitted. "I have always taught my sons to protect their sister, but I never taught them the right way to do it. That is on me." We talked for over an hour about what had happened. I explained how their actions had compounded the betrayal I felt, how the physical pain had been matched by the emotional trauma of losing not just Amanda, but also the family I had thought accepted me. "We want to make this right," Howard said eventually. "We will cover all your medical expenses and any wages you lost while on leave. It is the least we can do. And we will testify against Patrick Lucas," added. "Make sure he pays for what he did to both of you." I appreciated their offer, but money could not heal all wounds. "I am not going to press assault charges," I told them. "But I need you all to understand that our relationship will never be the same. If Amanda and I have any future together, things will have to be different between all of us." They nodded, understanding the boundaries I was setting. When Howard asked if I would stay for dinner, I politely declined. I had faced them, said my piece, and that was enough for one day. Amanda followed me outside as I left. "Are we going to be okay?" she asked, vulnerability in her voice. "I do not know," I answered honestly. "I need more time." The following months were a time of healing and reflection. I continued therapy, working through the trauma of the assault and betrayal. My therapist helped me understand that my feelings of anger and hurt were valid, but that holding on to them would only harm me in the long run. I returned to work and threw myself into my projects, eventually earning a promotion. My colleagues welcomed me back with support and understanding, especially after the truth about Patrick came out. Patrick was charged with cybercrime, harassment, defamation, and stalking. He accepted a plea deal to avoid a longer sentence but still received 2 years in prison and a restraining order preventing him from contacting either Amanda or me upon his release. Throughout this time, Amanda made regular efforts to reconnect. She sent thoughtful messages, never pushing, but always letting me know she was there when I was ready. She sent articles about rebuilding trust after betrayal and about healing from trauma. She gave me the space I needed while making it clear she was willing to do the work to rebuild what we had lost. I had many conversations with Tyler and Jasmine about whether to give Amanda another chance. Tyler was skeptical. "She believed the worst about you without even hearing your side," he pointed out. But Jasmine was more forgiving. "People make mistakes when they are hurt and scared," she said. "The question is whether you still love her enough to try again." 3 months after the confrontation with her family, I agreed to meet Amanda for dinner. We sat across from each other at a restaurant where we had had many happy dates, both nervous and hopeful. "I have been doing a lot of thinking," she said. "About us, about my family, about everything that happened. I know now that I have been too dependent on my father and brothers. I let their judgment override my own instincts about you." She explained how she had been having difficult conversations with her family about their controlling behavior and quick tempers. I told them that their actions nearly cost me the love of my life, and that I would not tolerate that kind of behavior ever again. I was impressed by her growth and self-awareness. It took courage to stand up to them like that. "It was necessary," she said simply. "I needed to do it for myself as much as for us." We agreed to start slowly as friends first. We began meeting for coffee, then for walks and movies. We talked about everything that had happened, processing our feelings together. Trust once broken could not be instantly restored, but it could be rebuilt with time and effort. 6 months after Patrick's arrest, Amanda and I were in a much better place. He was serving his sentence, and the restraining order gave us peace of mind for the future. Howard and his sons had followed through on their promise to cover my medical expenses, and they were all attending anger management classes at my suggestion. Most importantly, Amanda had proven her trust and loyalty in consistent ways. She was transparent about her whereabouts, always responded to my concerns with patience, and stood by me when mutual friends still questioned what had really happened. I found a strength in myself I had not known I possessed. I had stood alone against false accusations, had faced physical assault, and had come through it all, with my integrity intact. I had learned to trust my own truth, even when others doubted me. Eventually, I had to make a decision about our future. Did I want to try again with Amanda, knowing what we had been through? Could I truly forgive her and her family for the pain they had caused? After much soul-searching, I decided that our love was worth fighting for. The night I came to this decision, I invited Amanda to the waterfront where we had often walked during happier times. "I want to try again," I told her as we watched the sunset. "Not picking up where we left off, but starting something new with everything we have learned." Tears filled her eyes as she took my hands in hers. "That is all I have wanted to hear. I promise you, Carlton, I will never doubt you again." We decided to get engaged again, but on different terms. We would have a longer engagement with couples, counseling, to strengthen our communication. And when we did marry, It would be a smaller, more intimate ceremony with only those who had supported us through our darkest times. 1 year after the night that nearly destroyed us, Amanda and I stood together stronger than before. The experience had taught me invaluable lessons about truth, justice, trusting my instincts, and the power of forgiveness. Not forgiveness that forgets or excuses, but forgiveness that frees you to move forward. Life can change in an instant. False accusations can destroy reputations, families, and futures. But I learned that the truth, no matter how buried or twisted, eventually finds its way to the surface. And when it does, you have a choice about how to move forward. I chose forgiveness and rebuilding. Not because it was easy, but because it allowed me to reclaim my life and find happiness again. Some broken things, when repaired, become stronger at the broken places. That is what happened with Amanda and me. If you have ever been falsely accused or betrayed by someone you trusted, know that healing is possible. Trust your truth, even when you stand alone. And remember that forgiveness is not about excusing the wrong, but about freeing yourself from the burden of anger. Have you ever had to forgive someone who deeply hurt you? What helped you make that decision? Share your experiences in the comments below, and if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories of overcoming life's challenges. Thank you for listening, and I hope my journey brings some comfort or insight to yours.